Hey, welcome to the Bread of Life Ministry Incorporated. You're seeing us now on Facebook. So please let us know if the volume's good and if you can hear us. We're getting you queued up. Ryan will cue us in at the radio station as we simulcast on WBNL AM and FM, your hometown station for the tri-state areas. So we have a little process that we go through if you're first joining us. So please stick with us. We want to tell you guys that it's a kind of a dreary day in Tennessee, but we enjoyed so much visiting everyone this week in Indiana and out there doing work for the Bread of Life and stuff that Dad would have done. And we just really appreciate the opportunity to be with you folks. And so thank you, Patty, for joining in. We're going to be starting here in just a moment. Like I said, we simulcast. So we want to thank everyone again at North Friendship Church and all the cards and letters that are still coming in memory of Dad, Reverend Bill Carlisle, who started this program in 1973. Hey, Ella, good to see you. I was trying to get by to see you, and it seemed like every moment was tagged up. So expect a visitor the next time I'm in. We have had a fast and furious week, and my pastor said, "You are coming to church," and I said, I'm going to try, and he goes, "You got to take a little time for God." And so I expect to be at my church, The Gathering Place, this morning, which is aired live. If you don't have a church you attend or watch online, it's at 9:45. It's called The Gathering Place with Bishop Jimmy Tyson. So you will thoroughly enjoy it. This week's program is called The Fork in the Road. And if you ever saw the Muppet movie, you know, they went, where would it go? Where do we go? There's a fork in the road. And then you looked up and there was a big fork standing in the road, which always made me laugh. And so this week has been full of trials and tribulations and stuff that you're going through and not knowing which way to go. So that's what it's going to be about today. And as soon as Ryan cues us in, we'll get going here on the station. It usually comes in about 4 to 5 after on the radio portion, because they're playing, if you're listening to it, they're playing the song that Dad picked out, Sheltered in the Arms of God. And then they're doing the announcement, Ralph does. So we simulcast this. So we go on at 8 to get you ready for the program. And then at about 8:05, the program actually cues in, because it starts actually at 8 there with the music. So it's, thank God for technology and these ways that we can do this and come to you from anywhere. And like I said, today we're back in Tennessee. So we're sitting here looking at a lot of rain that's come through, and it's been a rainy 24 hours. Hey, Linda, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. And if you're watching us today, please share this with 5 people so that they can maybe get something out of it, or maybe it's something that was meant for them. When I do the prayer request too, please let me know if I've missed anyone, or if you have a special prayer request, just let me know. And you can always email me personally at sherrycs@millerps.com. Somebody let me know if it's volume's good. I think we are. Like I said, we're just waiting for Ryan to cue us in here, and we will be ready to go. I finally got a clock in the office, because I had so many devices going, I couldn't tell what time it was, and I was like George Jones. I was either going over or under on time. So I finally found me a clock at Goodwill, and it's sitting here, and I know what time it is now. So this radio program has been on the air since 1970, and so we just got a message from Ryan, and it says we have 20 seconds. So 20 seconds and we will be ready to go here. So just count those seconds down and we'll get this program started. And we're on the air. Thank you so much for joining us. This is WBNL Radio, and we've been on the air since 1970. We have Ryan in the station, and thanks to Ralph Turpin for such a great station all these years. We want to also thank Town Square Furnishing. They sponsor this program, and it's a place for all your furnishing and accessory needs in the tri-state area. So please go see the fine folks at Town Square Furnishing. We want to remember in prayer, like I said earlier, if you just joined us, we want to thank everyone for the cards, the letters, the prayers, the phone calls, and the support you've given us after Dad's passing to a better life at the end of July. Our prayer request today, we do have the Hilburn family requested last week. We want to remember the Blair family. I talked and visited with Carolyn and Bowen. Always remember the Clare family in Ireland. They're still going through a hard time with their brother. Sue, Joe, Chad and his family. Our cousin, the Knight family, with the loss of their little baby Lee. The Abbott family who've been ill. Ella, we want to remember you in our prayers. Regina, and all those that have been sick. Deborah, who went through some surgery, and those who have lost loved ones. We know they're in a better place, but it doesn't take away the peace of our heart that is lost here on earth. So please remember the Carlisle family in your prayers as you pray. In fact, let's go to the Lord in prayer right now. Dear Jesus, we come to you, a sinner saved by grace. Every day, every moment we do something that's not in your will. But God, your will also said that we have the right of forgiveness. And all we have to do is ask humbly in your name for the forgiveness that you give us, and for the strength you give us to go on, and for the road map you give us, and the curves and the forks in the road that you guide us in the right direction. We ask this in your holy name. Amen. Today is called the road map. And I was thinking about this because, as you know, or you may not know, I travel a lot. And I fly, but my greatest thing is I love to drive. Now, not many people like to ride with me, but I do love to drive. I crank up the radio, just like that song, My Church. I crank up the radio, and I usually put on some old gospel or Willie's Roadhouse, and I drive, and my mind is just not thinking, not doing anything, and I follow my GPS. Now, if you have a car, over 50% of us have a car now that has GPS. And in our spiritual life, to me, that should be called the GPW. God's pointing the way. Roads have curves. And this week, as I found out, God put a lot of road construction out. There are detours with road construction, one-lane traffic, and then the ultimate fork in the road. Which way do I go at the fork in the road? I remember there was a movie called Congo, and they were following a gorilla through the jungle, and they had a fork in the road on the mountain. And everybody in the exposition wanted to go left, and the gorilla wanted to go right. And they said, the heart is in the gorilla. The gorilla knows where home is. I'm following the gorilla. So which way do I go? God has the wheel. Now, if you're driving with me and you're my sister, you might disagree with God has the wheel. We discussed that with Bishop Tyson when I was driving one day this week. We, as humans, we want the shortest, the quickest route, but sometimes he detours us on the back roads. And you know why? It's just to see the things that we might not have witnessed on that highway. As a kid, I remember going down the highway and seeing, we'd go toward Florida or Tennessee, and we'd see Rock City or see Ruby Falls. I'd say that, my brother would say, did she hurt herself? So the only thing we had to see were the billboards. We missed all of the beauty God created, and sometimes the path He takes us off the highway on a beaten path or a two-lane road to show us things he wants us to see and experience. His path is the path that we must take no matter how long it takes, how frustrated we get, or how frustrated we get at the drivers around us. Roads sometimes are closed, but when they're closed, God has a new route for us to take. And He guides us in a way that we may not want to go that route. We may not want to turn left when we're supposed to turn left and we want to turn right. But God tells us the way that we should turn. In the scriptures, Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, a synopsis of that is, God shall direct you in your path that you should take. And in Matthew 4:19, it says, come follow me, Jesus said, and I will send you out to fish for men. So sometimes the path we're taking is not putting us with the people we need to be with. And sometimes the path God wants us to take will lead us to be fishers of men and to talk to people. We had dinner, our siblings and I, and my brother did something extraordinary. He just decided he would buy dinner for someone. And when he did that, it reminded me of Dad. But it also showed me that we were put in that place at that moment for that person to be there in that road for something to be done good for someone else. And so you never know the path of where it's going to take you, but you need to follow the path God's telling you. And we fight the path. We want to use our GPS instead of our GPW. So we want to remember that God points the way, and God tells us which way to go. And we go, how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to get there quick enough to make the appointment? How am I going to get there in time to do this or to do that? I got to speak with Jody Yeager this morning or this week when I was in, and it was so funny. He said, I thought your dad's funeral was at 11, and I got there about 20 till, and I felt so bad. But he got there right in the time that they told the story about his Sunday school class. So God had a direction and a timing that Jody was supposed to be there for Dad's celebration of life with Bishop Tyson and Brother Webb. So we have a timing for everything. There's a reason why you get somewhere and somewhere you don't, and there's a reason that God... And sometimes we take the wrong path. And when we take that wrong path, God is always there to redirect us down that side road and get us where we need to go. But remember, as my owner Ross Miller says at Miller Piano, it's not in our time. It is in God's time. And when He's ready to do that and lead you in that direction. We want to read a song for you today that we found before we do our announcements, that we found. It's called At the Crossroads. And it says, when I was a little boy, this man is telling on the internet how he used to sing this song. He said, I met Jesus on the crossroads where the two ways met. Satan too was standing there, and he said, come on this way. And lots of pleasures will be for you. And I can give it to you today. But I said no. There's Jesus here. Just see what He offers me. Down here my sins are forgiven. Up there there's a home in heaven. And praise God, it's the road for me. So we need to remember that today. At the fork in the road, you're going to have the devil on one side. You're going to have God on the other side, just like the devil and the angel. And they're going to be directing you on which path. This is going to make you more money with this job. This is going to bring you more fame and fortune with this job. This is going to give you more power if you do this. This is going, but we need to remember it's God's way and God's time and what God has to do for you. It's just like when I moved to Nashville, I wanted to be Reba McEntire. And I've told you this. God did not have that for me. He had that for me to play with major artists, to sing back up with major artists. He had it for me to be involved with them, and he had writers that I got to write with and have songs cut with. So he gave me the opportunity for the Opry. He did not do the path I chose, but he did a side road that I saw the beauty, and I still got to enjoy my life of music. And it continues every day. And there's paths that he's going to change every day for things for me to do. We want to tell you about some announcements, and please share this. And Ralph is giving away some free tickets, promotional tickets this week on the radio, so be listening for the 8th caller. This is our 8th anniversary of our big benefit for the Bread of Life Ministry Incorporated. If you do not know this, just to operate this nonprofit is about $25,000 minimum a month. And that is giving away free food and clothes to agencies as well as individuals. That's keeping electricity turned on, freezers going, drive-in coolers going, vans going. So our operating expenses are up there. And it's up to you as donors or people that want to help. And so our big benefit, each one of our trucks that come in for the cartage is about $3,000. So if we have 5 of those a week, that's a lot on top of, our operating expense. So we want people to know that. And monthly pledges are appreciated because that way we know monthly what is coming in and how we can pay the bills. And we try not to stress, but as humans we do, and we know God will supply, and he has since 1973. But we're annual golf scramble. It's our 8th annual celebrity golf scramble and silent auction at the wonderful Boonville Country Club. Excuse me, I got something in my eye. And we will be there. You can call the Bread of Life Ministries, or you can at 812-922-5424. You can go on our Facebook or go online, and I believe we've got the forms up for that, or call that number to get your golf team signed up. And while we're doing that, we're having a silent auction. I've been talking to a lot of you and gathering. Thank you so much for the wonderful things you've donated this week for our silent auction. We're trying to get those up online the next day or two so you can see them ahead of time. It will be live on Facebook on the Bread of Life Ministries, and that's September 17th at the Boonville Country Club. Yes, you can come live for the auction and sit inside, or you can watch it online and bid, as we'll have callers waiting. We're adding this as a weekend celebration. Friday, we actually have a private event. But Saturday, the 17th of September, Celebrity Golf Scramble Auction at the Boonville Country Club. On Sunday, the 18th, we've incorporated something new. It's our first annual Community Cowboy Church. And we've invited all the churches in the area. I'm going to get pastors your emails out so we can find out, because it will be at the Museum of the Coal Industry. That day, the profits will be split between the two nonprofits there in Linville, Indiana. Cowboy Church is free. They are serving breakfast for a donation. It's biscuits and gravy, brats, and drinks. So you want to come there for that. We've had a wonderful gentleman that's donated his time to do this. And they're just asking a donation of $10 if you want breakfast. We've got a special speaker coming in from Tennessee, Bishop Tyson. And we also have Austin Glover from the Great Command singing, and a special guest that's flying in from Florida to do a song for us. Mr. Mike Booth. Then we will have a little bit of a break, and at 12 we'll have lunch if you'd like. I believe it's pork chop sandwiches for a donation of $10, or it will be a full plate for $15, which will be pork chop, slaw, beans, and your drink. So, and corn casserole. So if you would like to stay for lunch, we'd love you to. Please remember to bring your lawn chairs for this event. Our country concert with Keith Burns from Trick Pony and the wonderful Red Ridge Riders will be there, and special guest. So we're going to have a really good hoedown after country church. That will start at 3 o'clock. You can get online at Eventbrite your tickets. They're $20 in advance and $25 at the gate. You will be given an armband, or you can call Lori at the Bread of Life Ministries at 812-922-5424 to secure your armbands early. And we're expecting a full house. There'll be parking available and food and just a fun time, meet and greet with the artist, and they'll have their products there if you want t-shirts, whatever. So y'all come. That is September 17th and 18th at the Boonville Country Club, and then on the 18th at the Museum of Coal Industry. We are always looking for donations. We're in dire need of food, school supplies, clothing always. So if you'd like to do a donation or support, or you're an agency in need, please call 812-922-5424. If you're an individual, since we do both, on the left side of the building, you can call 812-922-5339. There are forms available that you can get from the Bread of Life Ministries by calling 812-922-5424, so you're prepared for your evaluation and to get on board. Thank you, Mark Mason, for joining in from Texas this morning. Great to see you. You can always send your contributions to P.O. Box 12, Linville, Indiana, 47619, in care of the Bread of Life. You can email the Bread of Life at bol1973@aol.com. And you can always email me, sherrycs@millerps.com. We want to leave you with some songs this morning. I think Ryan's got one or two ready. But we want to leave you with this thought. This thought is, there is a fork in the road. There's a curve in the road. There's a detour sign. Make sure that you've got God on your side to guide you with your GPW and not always your GPS. So today we're going to sign off. We love you so much. Please share this with 5 people. We thank you for, like I said, your cards and letters. And we're going to turn it over to Ryan right now and let Ryan do a song for us. Join us next week at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time for WBNL Radio's The Bread of Life Ministry radio program since 1970. Thank you.